The Philadelphia Phillies have closed to within 5 games of Atlanta's lead in the National League East. Tonight, the Braves try to prevent a 4-game sweep by Philadelphia. Hi, everybody. Pete Van Wert along with Joe Simpson welcoming you to Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. The Braves trying to avoid a 4-game sweep, something the Phillies haven't done to Atlanta since 1995. Despite the 3 losses, the Braves' magic number reduced to 12 last night because the Florida Marlins lost. But they have to figure out a way to get better against the Phillies in this series. They have been outmanned, outscored, out everything in this series. And it's mostly been Andrew Jones offensively and a little else. So the Braves are going to have to find some ways to get a little more done offensively and shut down the Phillies on the other side of things. And the man they're asking to do that job, Joe, is a guy who is in a surprising role this stage of the year, Jorge Sosa.
Jorge, when he went into the rotation, Pete, I think he was looked upon as just a fill-in guy. Well, he's not that anymore. In fact, heading toward the postseason, he might be the number 3 guy in the Braves rotation. Look at these numbers over his last 4 starts. In fact, tonight, he's looked upon as the stopper to stop this losing streak. A great outing in his last start against Washington. 8 shutout innings, gave up only 6 hits. He actually pitched a game against the Phillies back on July 3rd, a real odd game. He went 5 1/3 innings, gave up only 1 hit, gave up 3 runs, however, and got a no decision. He's up to the task. He's enjoying this starting role, and I think he's the guy to deliver the goods tonight.
Well, we'll see if he can stop the skid. Back with all the action from Philadelphia. But first, let's check in with Mark Fine.
All right, thanks very much, Pete. Welcome back to TBS Sports Control, presented by MasterCard. We are going to present to you now another matchup of 2 NL East foes, Washington and the New York Mets. And Mets up 5-4 in the 9th, but Brad Wilkerson comes through with a big hit off Bray Looper. We're all tied up. We go to 10, and former Brave Vinny Castilla coming up with the big hit to right. There's your winning run, 6-5, Washington, the final. We're going to have the Braves and the Phillies. It's coming up after a quick timeout. Keep it in.
And by Johnson & Johnson.
It's another light turnout here at Citizens Bank Park under threatening skies. We've had some rain in the metropolitan Philadelphia area just about all day long, and hopefully it'll stay away long enough for us to get game 4 of this series in between the Phillies and the Braves. Here's the Napa starting lineup for Bobby Cox tonight. You'll have Rafael Furcal at the top of the order, followed by Marcus Giles, and then the Jones boys. Adam LaRoche is in the 5 spot. Jeff Rencourt bats 6th. Bottom third of the order tonight, Langerhans, McCann, and Sosa. Phillies have taken the field defensively for them tonight. Burrell in left, Kenny Lofton back in center field to get the start. Bob Abreu in right field. Bell, Rollins, Utley, and Howard third to first. Behind the plate, Todd Pratt will give Mike Lieberthal a night off, and on the mound, perhaps the ace of the Philadelphia staff, Brett Myers. He's had a great year, 12-7, a 3.63 ERA, just 25 years old, 6'4", 225 out of Jacksonville, Florida. He's in his 3rd year, a former first-round draft pick. You see his numbers against Atlanta for the year there at the bottom of his season totals. He's lifetime 3-3 against the Braves. He's a guy who strikes out a lot of batters. He's 7th in the league in strikeouts, but he's also in 21 of his first 30 starts has walked 2 batters or less. And he is a tough customer, likes to pitch inside. He's going to come in on the hands of some of these left-handed hitters, and the Braves have got their work cut out for him tonight. Runs could come at a premium despite the fact that he gave up 11 hits in 4 innings plus against Florida in his last start. Umpires for tonight's game, Paul Schreiber behind the plate, Riley, Fletcher, and Kellogg on the bases, and we're set to go, Pete.
And here is Rafael Furcal to start things off for Atlanta, taking strike 1. This top of the batting order for the Braves been kind of quiet on this whole road trip. Furcal just 5 out of 25 on the trip. Marcus Giles just 4 out of 23. There's a sharply hit ground ball, but right at Rollins. 1 away.
We say a lot that the Braves go as Furcal and Giles go. If they set the table, it's quite easy for the guys in the middle of the order to start producing some runs. And Jimmy Rollins, the same guy for the Phillies. When he's going good, they score a lot of runs, and he is hot right now.
20-game hitting streak for Jimmy Rollins. That's the longest in the National League this year. Strike 1 to Marcus Giles, who's down to 297. His average dipping below 300 on this trip. 2 out of 11 in this series. And Myers quickly out in front, 0-2. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Marcus upstairs. A ball and 2 strikes.
One of the things the Braves have not been able to do in this series is put some pressure on the Phillies early. Seems like they're always having to come from behind, which makes it more difficult.
2-2. Chipper Jones waiting on deck. Phillies, as we mentioned, have not swept the Braves in a 4-game series since 1995. They did that in Atlanta, too. They have never swept the Braves in a 4-game series in Philadelphia. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes on Marcus Giles.
They did sweep the Boston Braves, however, back in 1949 over at Shibe Park. So it's been a while since that happened to a Braves team.
And now the count full on Marcus Giles, 3-2. Got ahead 0-2 on Marcus Giles and winds up walking him. Maybe that'll get something started for Atlanta. That'll bring up Chipper Jones.
And as good as this guy's stuff is, Pete, I mean, there's a little bit of A.J. Burnett type talent there in that he can win anytime he goes out there if he lets his stuff work. But he can be his own worst enemy and get a little rattled. Maybe that'll help Atlanta tonight.
Chipper 0 for 6 in the series, hitting .302 on the year. Well hit to left field, but right at Burrell. He has to back up a few steps. That ball carried a little further than it first looked like it would. But Burrell able to run it down just shy of the track for out number 2. Back to first Marcus Giles. That'll bring up Andrew Jones. Big night for Andrew last night despite the loss. His 50th homer of the season, his 300th career home run. The 4th youngest player ever to hit 300 career homers. Only Alex Rodriguez, Jimmy Fox, and Ken Griffey Jr. have ever done it at a younger age.
Yeah, Griffey by 1 day.
125 RBIs to go along with those 50 home runs. But he was not in a celebratory mood after the game last night in the clubhouse. He is a little miffed at the way the team has performed in this series.
I think it goes back to Sunday in Washington. He was miffed there. Braves won that game, but you might remember that it took home runs back-to-back from Chipper and Andrew to win that game Sunday.
That quote from Andrew after last night's game. And that's been very evident in this series. The number of run-scoring opportunities have gone by the wayside.
Let's face it, Pete. When you get to the postseason, teams, when they make their scouting reports and decide how they're going to pitch players, are not going to let a guy like this, who's having the year he's having, beat them. Whoever's batting 5th is going to have a lot of opportunities in the postseason, and that needs to be a hot hitter regardless of who it is. Because they'll pitch around Andrew time after time if he's got RBI opportunities.
3-1 now on Andrew with Adam LaRoche waiting on deck. 2 men out here in the top of the first. Now 3-2. Talking with Bobby Cox a couple days ago about Andrew's season, he brought up a slump that Andrew went through in early May when he was 0 for 28, but he stuck with the new approach. It would have been very easy during an 0 for 28 skid to go back to hitting the way he had hit in the past. Out on strikes here, and Brett Myers a good start.
Charlie Manuel's lineup in this series has been pretty consistent. He's changed a few names, but tonight it's Rollins at the top of the order and another fast runner, Lofton and Utley. Abreu bats cleanup, then Pat Burrell and Ryan Howard, the good-looking rookie. Bell, Pratt, and Myers round out the order. Will set the Braves defense shortly as Jorge Sosa gets set to go to work.
Against the hot hitter, Jimmy Rollins, 20-game hitting streak, a .273 average for the year. Strike 1 to Rollins, who with his hits in last night's game, giving him that 20-game streak, tied Cliff Floyd and Jose Reyes, both of the Mets, for the longest hitting streak in the National League this year. 1-1. Sosa walking with a little bounce to his step these days. I think he's very happy being in the starting rotation and producing the way he has. 2-1.
I mentioned that good outing against Washington. 8 innings of shutout baseball, gave up only 6 hits, did not walk a batter, and struck out 3.
Well hit right. Jeff Francoeur back to the warning track and makes the grab. That ball was hit hard by Rollins, like almost everything else he has hit in this series. One away though, and that'll bring up Kenny Lofton.
Rest of the outfield with Francoeur. Langerhans in left, Andrew in center, of course. Chipper, Raphael, Marcus, and Adam third to first. Brian McCann doing the catching. And this start for Sosa, his 17th since going into the rotation. He's allowed a .241 batting average against him and 11 home runs in 116 innings. That's a pretty good number.
Here's another hot hitter, Kenny Lofton. .319 for the year with a couple of homers, but he's 10 for his last 21. Almost like having back-to-back leadoff men with Rollins and Lofton. One ball, one strike.
He's had a good series too. 5 hits in the series, and he didn't even play last night.
Now the 1-1 on the way, and that's well hit to right field again. There's Francoeur though. Drop this one. And Lofton is on with 1 man out. Francoeur tried to catch the sinking line drive backhanded, and it dropped out of his glove. And that'll be an error on Jeff.
One of a rookie's embarrassing moments. Should have had it. In fact, I think he might have stepped on it after he dropped it out of his glove, and it was sinking, but should have been caught.
That'll bring up Chase Utley. 3rd error made by Jeff Francoeur this season since coming up to Atlanta. .287 average for Chase Utley with 22 homers and 87 runs driven in. Sosa trying to pitch around this error now. One thing you don't want to do when a team is as hot as the Phillies have been against the Braves is give them any extra chances. They've outscored the Braves 11-0 in the first 3 innings in this series. And they have a speedy runner aboard now with 1 out in the first.
And I think that is really for any team, getting on a run early helps everybody loosen up. But for some reason, this Phillies team, they're like sharks. They love scoring early. They go up swinging for the fences then in this short, small ballpark. And it is a recipe for success for them, most definitely.
Again, Lofton chased back. We mentioned they're 5 games now behind Atlanta. They're not conceding anything in the division race, but right now they're tied for the top spot in the wild card race with Florida. Florida plays again tonight at Houston with Jason Vargas facing Andy Pettitte.
And the Phillies players vocally upset about how disappointed they are in the turnout for this series. They knew Monday night it'd be hard to get a crowd in here because the Eagles were playing on Monday Night Football against the Falcons. But they thought since they've been playing well, some more folks would show up.
Might be a few more here tonight than we had last night, but it's still a lot of empty seats. Sosa continues to try to hold Kenny Lofton close.
Had between 20 and 23,000 each of the first 3 games.
There goes Lofton. The pitch is low. The throw by McCann is late. Stolen base for Lofton. His 14th.
Brian McCann had no chance. His throw was off the mark, but he was not going to get Kenny Lofton even with a perfect throw. Big jump right here on the high leg kick by Sosa. And then a tough pitch to throw on to boot.
Meanwhile, the count's gone to 3-0 on Utley. He walks on 4 straight. Runners first and second with 1 out for Bobby Abreu. A .295 hitter with 94 runs driven in.
That error changed the whole way that Sosa approached that at bat for Utley. Even though he was going to give up 2 hard hit line drive outs, he was going to get the first 2 guys. Still had, as you put it, that little bounce in his step, and then all of a sudden started trying to nitpick on some corners with Lofton on base.
Well, it's not at all unusual to see Sosa in this kind of a situation. He has been a wizard at pitching out of situations with runners in scoring position all season long. He'll have to do it again here in the first inning. Here's Abreu. He's earned the nickname from the Braves manager and coaching staff, the Magician. Look how those numbers go down the tougher the situation gets. That's hard to do.
It's when he's at his best, it seems.
0-1 to Abreu, just off the corner.
But Jorge's not afraid to throw strikes. There are some guys who want to throw strikes and they try to hit corners or they try to hit spots.
Try to make the perfect pitch.
Trying to make a perfect pitch. This guy's not afraid to throw a strike and take the results and let his defense help him.
Here's the 1-1 at the knees. Abreu not too happy with that call by Paul Schreiber. I guess he thought it was a little low.
Let's take a look. Caught the front knee. Pretty good breaking ball.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out, bottom of the first. With Utley at first, Lofton at second.
We talked about Sosa's ability to get out of jams, especially with 2 out runners in scoring position. Bob Abreu, a pretty good scrambler himself. 3rd in the National League in hits with 2 strikes on him. 74.
There are your runners as Sosa gets ready for this 2-2 pitch to Abreu. Just missed. Full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Abreu may have gotten one back here. No, never had the plate.
Good speed on the base paths. We'll see if they're running on this 3-2 pitch. Nope. Fouled away. Still 3-2.
Abreu's numbers have fallen off drastically from a great first half, and a lot of fans in Philadelphia want to blame his home run championship in the All-Star game in the home run hitting contest. They think that messed up his swing. He's got a very unique swing, kind of hard to mess it up. It's really a nice one. Really uses his hands well.
And fouls away another 3-2 pitch.
In fact, when he's standing at the plate, he's so relaxed. He's barely got his top hand on the bat. He's kind of holding it very much in his left fingertips, and then as he goes into his swing, of course, the bat goes a little deeper into his hand, but he looks very relaxed and is quite methodical about his hitting approach.
He has had almost the identical season the last 5 years. Incredibly consistent. Another 3-2 pitch, and he walked him, and that loads the bases. So an error, a pair of walks, and the Phillies have loaded the bases for their top RBI man, Pat Burrell. Well, here's another one of those Sosa situations. Burrell 285. He's driven in 108 runs. Leo Mazzoni heading out to the mound for a chat with Sosa. I hadn't even noticed this before, Joe. On Abreu, we know his numbers are pretty close to the same every year, but hits per season the last 5 years. In 2001, 170, 2002, 176, 2003, 173, 2004, 173. This year he's got 156. With about 15 games to go, he's going to be in the 170s again.
He's one of my favorite players to watch. I just love his game.
Over 100 walks every year. He does strike out over 100 times a year. He's done that for 8 straight years.
Play the outfield. He can run. He can hit with power.
Here's Burrell, bases full. Ball 1. Infield staying back. They'll try to turn 2 if they can get a ground ball. Burrell doesn't hit many ground balls. He's more of a fly ball hitter. Takes a strike 1-1. He's also a strikeout candidate. He strikes out a lot. Only Adam Dunn in the National League has struck out more than Burrell.
Yeah, but check out what he's done the last 3 years, Pete, and how he has improved this year in driving in runs. 84, not bad for him coming off that horrible year in 2003, but he's back to where he was in 2002 with his numbers this year. He's been tough in the clutch.
And now the 1-1. Popped him up. Chipper Jones, infield fly rule in effect. 2 men out. Can Sosa do it again?
This inning he's used primarily fastball, slider, a hard slider. Well, all of a sudden he breaks out something a little bit softer here for Burrell. Straight change up, and watch how Burrell dips in the back. His front shoulder got elevated, his hands dropped, and just to try to make contact on that changeup, he went straight up at it. Big out there for Sosa, and a great pitch.
Now the rookie first baseman Ryan Howard, 286, 17 home runs. They try to keep the ball in on him, way in. Like that. But it missed, ball 1. Anything out over the plate. He's got power to hit the ball out of the park in any direction.
He went out around a pitch against John Thompson the other night, hit it deep in the seats, and I'm not even sure the pitch was a strike. Might have been on the outside corner, but he pulled it to straightaway right.
Here's the 1-0 to Howard. That's in for a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Two men out, bases loaded. Here's the 1-1 now to Howard, and that just missed, ball 2.
Well, that was a good pitch, and I think their approach is a real good one, because if they can locate the off-speed stuff away, Howard might try to go out there and get it and roll over the top of it. That was a very good pitch. Looked like it might have even been a strike.
Phillies showing some good discipline in this inning. They've laid off some close pitches and gotten the call on just about every one of them. Ball 3. Well, now Sosa's dug himself as deep into a hole as you can be. Bases loaded, 2 outs, 3 balls, 1 strike, and an outstanding power hitter. This pitch may decide the ball game, even though it's only the first inning.
You know what? I'd rather make a mistake and give up 1 than a huge mistake and give up 4.
Fouled away.
And by that I mean you don't have to groove one down the middle just because it's 3 and 2 of the bases loaded. David Bell's on deck. He's been scuffling. He's hit 242 on this homestand. I wouldn't give in to Howard. I'd see if he'd expand his strike zone, trying to be a hero here and chase a bad pitch.
The race will be on with Abreu and Utley and Lofton. They'll take off in this 3-2 pitch with 2 outs to Howard. In the air, center field, deep. Andrew Jones going back on the warning track. 399 feet away in dead center field. Andrew Jones hauls it in, and that's why they call Jorge Sosa the magician. Ball one to Adam LaRoche leading off the second. No score. Adam 243, 15 homers, 68 RBIs, but a real struggle this month and the latter part of August as well. Only 4 for 26 in the month of September, and that's just the second half of the slump for Adam. 7 for his last 61.
He got a few days off last week. Bobby Cox was trying to rest him, hoping he could regenerate some of that bat speed that makes him has made him successful in the past. And then, of course, he got hit with that ground ball in Washington. Had to take a couple more days off.
That'll be out of play in the count 2-2.
So hopefully that rest, something he wasn't crazy about after that bad hot ground ball, will help Adam the last couple of weeks.
Jeff Francoeur will follow, then Ryan Langerhans. Second strikeout for Myers.
This is a pitch that Adam's been seeing more and more and more, especially when they get ahead. They just bury the slider down and in, and he's been swinging right over the top of it. It's a pitch that's, in the view of the hitter, too close to take when you're behind in the count, but one that Adam can't go down and seem to make contact on lately.
Here's Francoeur now. He's 3 out of 11 in this series, hitting .322 for the year. Getting a look at Brett Myers for the first time in his career. 1 ball, 1 strike. Upstairs 2-1. I can't get over the determination in all of these youngsters and the awareness that all of them have of just what they're involved in here, trying to keep this string of playoff appearances going, and how determined they are not to be a part of any team that ends that streak. You can talk to Jeff Francoeur. I talked with Kelly Johnson on the bus ride back to the hotel last night. First thing he started talking about is, how many games are we up now? We can't be the group that has this string end. And they're all very conscious, very aware, and very determined not to let it happen. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Just don't want to see any of them start pressing.
Haven't seen it yet.
Trying to do too much. Just keep playing loosely like they've been playing and enjoying themselves. It'll all work out.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Bobby trying to change the luck. We've seen him do this before. He goes way down to the other end of the dugout. Did that in Atlanta a couple years ago and changed the Braves' luck, ended a losing streak. Trying to make it happen again here in Philadelphia. 3rd strikeout of the game for Myers. That'll bring up Ryan Langerhans.
3 in a row for him. That was his best fastball of the night. 95. Something else about these young players, Pete, especially Francoeur, since he's been playing every day, and McCann lately because he's been playing a lot, is the number of games. And by that I mean, if you play in the minor leagues, what's the minor league schedule? 140, 144?
Yep.
And you know they don't play in every one of those. But there's a 162 game schedule. They're playing longer than they ever have in their life.
Shallow right center field, but Kenny Lofton is there to make the catch, and that's a 1-2-3 inning for Brett Myers. Still no score as we head to the bottom of inning 2. No score. David Bell leads off here in the second, then Todd Pratt, then the pitcher Brett Myers. Bell 245, 8 homers. First pitch swinging, fly ball center, Andrew Jones. An easy catch, 1 away.
Fans, it's time for the know-how question of the game, built by the Home Depot. If you have a question tonight, send us an email, and if chosen, we'll answer it later in the game. You can send that email to tbsmailbag@atlantabraves.com, and please tell us your name and where you're from and what your favorite musical group is.
Here's Todd Pratt now batting .263. Getting a little more playing time this year. He's had a pretty good offensive year. 7 homers. He used to catch about 1 game a week. This year he's catching about 2 a week. count 0-2.
Doing some parts of Mike Lieberthal being a little off this year too. His numbers down. Todd trying to pick up some of the slack.
Again to center. Again Andrews there. 2 away.
Just the way the first inning started, it turned into a 28-pitch inning for Sosa. It looked like he was going to get 2 outs on about 4 pitches, I believe, through the first 2 batters.
Every out made in the game has been either a fly ball to the outfield or a pop fly to the infield in these first 2 innings by the Phillies. Now the pitcher Brett Myers hitting 143. A base hit into right field for the pitcher. At least, yeah, I was going to say, at least we think it's a base hit, because that ball was hit so sharply that Frank Gore for a moment had thoughts of picking it up and firing it to first, trying to get Myers. If he wasn't hustling down the line, they might have tried it. First hit of the game. And back to the top of the order now, and Jimmy Rollins, who lined out to right field in the first inning. He's trying to extend that 20-game hitting streak.
Jimmy Rollins loves hitting in this ballpark. His season average about 30 points higher at Citizens Bank Park than it is on the road.
Sosa falls behind 2-0. Longest hitting streak in the modern era by a Philly is 26 games by Chuck Klein in 1930. In fact, he had 2 26-game hitting streaks that year. Franchise record is 36, set back in the 1890s. There's a strike, 3-1. Billy Hamilton is the franchise record holder.
Sliding Billy.
Pete Rose had a 21-game streak in 82. That's what Rollins is trying to catch tonight. Back up the middle for call. Had him shaded that way, though. High throw. Overthrows LaRoche. And they're going to call interference on Marcus Giles, as he was in the way of Brett Myers trying to go from second to third. You don't very often see for call uncork a wild throw like that. And runners wind up at second and third.
Bobby Cox wants to know why Jimmy Rollins is getting second base on this. The ball hit off the screen in front of the dugout and came back. But you can see the obstruction down at second base here as Myers runs into the back of Marcus.
Adam LaRoche also asking Mike Riley. And Mike Riley was pointing out something to Adam LaRoche. And now Bobby Cox is going to come out and get an explanation from him.
Now that ball hit the screen. I think Mike thought it went in the dugout, but it did not.
Now the umpires are going to confer. All 4 of them. Mike Riley was pointing at something in the dugout area, as if to say to Adam LaRoche, well, the ball went there. That's why we awarded him second base. And let's see what they've decided here. I think they're going to bring Jimmy Rollins back to first, but I don't think they're going to send Brett Myers back to second.
No, I think Myers was entitled to third base because of the obstruction. But Jimmy Rollins has no right to second base because of that obstruction.
And now Charlie Manuel wants an explanation from Mike Riley. The reason that the runner Brett Myers was able to advance 2 bases was because as he rounded second and was heading toward third, he almost ran right over Marcus Giles. He just couldn't get out of the way. But that had nothing to do with the play over at first. Ball never went into the dugout.
Now you'll get a good look at the throw here. It'll sail over LaRoche's head, but it'll hit the screen right next to that stairway down into the dugout, and clearly it comes back. Now here's Marcus standing right in the way, and Myers didn't flatten him but came close.
So there are 2 errors charged on the play. There goes the runner, Jimmy Rollins. He steals second anyway on the first pitch. 2 errors charged. No, correction, just 1 error charged on that play. I thought they might charge an error on the obstruction as well, but they have not posted one yet.
Do you get an error for interference typically? I don't know the answer to that.
1 ball, 1 strike.
This guy's been as tough and out as there has been in the Phillies lineup this entire series. 5 RBIs in this homestand when he's been 10 for 22.
Well, here's Sosa in one of these situations again. Runner second and third with 2 outs.
Jorge Houdini.
He had a bases loaded 1 out situation in the first inning, pitched out of it. First. Kenny Lofton retired, and Sosa's out of it again, stranding 2 more runners in scoring position. They have scored that on Jimmy Rollins, an infield hit and an error.
Exit Wounds, Sunday night at 8 on TBS.
No score as we head to the third. Let's clean up the scoring in that bottom half of the second inning. The official score awarding Jimmy Rollins an infield hit on that ground ball to Rafael Furcal. That'll extend his hitting streak to 21 games. Myers would have gone to second on the hit, and then the overthrow by Furcal allows Myers rather to go to third. They can only charge 1 error in that situation. This is Utley throwing out Brian McCann.
I thought Rafael was going to have him.
I thought so
with a
too.
Good throw, and I think that's some hometown scoring for the hitting streak. That's pitiful.
Here's the play again. How close was he to beating this out?
They'd have had him.
They would have had him by a step.
Brutal.
You can charge an error to a fielder who obstructs a base runner, but only if the play would not have happened. In other words, if Myers would have gone to third anyway. He was advancing to second on the ground ball. He would have gone to third on the overthrow, in the opinion of the official score. So you can't charge another error to Giles, allowing Myers to get to third. If he was advancing from second to third on a ground out and Giles got in the way somehow, and then he was awarded third, then you could charge Giles with an error. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Jorge Sosa. 3 for 25 as a hitter this year. 2-2. Yeah, I think Jimmy Rollins can send a box of cigars up to the official scorer on that one. But that's the only hit he gets tonight. Keep the streak alive. Strike 3 called. 4th strikeout for Brent Myers. And back to the top of the order now, Rafael Furcal, who grounded out to short his first time.
Braves got to figure out a way to generate some offense, and it typically starts with the top of the order. We touched on that at the beginning of the first inning, but Furcal and Giles have got to get going again. Marcus did draw a walk in the first inning. That was a good sign for him.
He's been the only base runner for Atlanta off Myers. Since then, he's retired 7 straight. 1 ball, no strikes to Rafael Furcal. There's a base hit, and the first of the game for Atlanta. Burrow will get it back to the infield. Runner at first, 2 down for Giles, who drew a walk his first time up. Sosa's doing his thing. Got out of a bases loaded jam in the first inning, and got out of a second and third situation in the second. Now let's see if the Braves can do anything with 2 outs here in the third. the move. There's the throw down by Pratt right into the runner. And Utley unable to get a glove on it. 41st stolen base. That's a new season high for Rafael Furcal.
If Utley hangs on to it, I think it hit his glove, and Rafael dislodged it when the ball and the runner got there at the same time. If he hangs on to this, I bet it gets called out. Utley never got his glove around on the other side of Rafael. He had it hung up in his shoulder.
So the Braves have a runner in scoring position now. Rafael had 40 stolen bases his rookie year, and now he has surpassed that total. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Giles, taken high. Even now. Myers 3-3 lifetime against Atlanta. He's beaten the Braves once this year. Braves have beaten him twice, but he rarely pitches that poorly against the Braves.
We talked about this at the very beginning of the season, that when you play against your division rivals as much as happens now, 19 games in the National League, familiarity really becomes a nuisance. And by that I mean scouting reports and having faced hitters a lot. Pitchers find weaknesses, they find spots to pitch to. Hitters might pick up something on a pitcher that he's given away, tipping off his pitches.
Well, a full count, 3-2 here on Giles with a runner at second, 2 outs.
These two teams play again, a series in Atlanta beginning next Tuesday.
And he loses Giles with another walk, second walk of the game. Giles has gotten them both. And that'll bring up Chipper Jones, runners first and second. Chipper still looking for his first hit in this series. If you go back over this series, you'll find that the Braves have had the lead in this series for only a half an inning. Top half of the 5th inning on Tuesday night, they scored 4 runs to take a 4-2 lead. Phillies tied the game up in the bottom half of the 5th inning. And that was the only time in this whole series when the Braves even had the lead. A chance to grab the lead here if Chipper can deliver a 2-out hit. Well hit right center field. You can forget about that one. A big 2-out hit for Chipper Jones deep into the Philadelphia bullpen. 3-0 Atlanta on Chipper Jones' 18th home run of the year.
What did we just say? Get the top 2 guys on and then let some damage be done by the middle of the order. Chipper was due, and when Myers walked Marcus Giles and has to face either one of the Jones boys, he's asking for trouble. Kenny Lofton never moved on this ball. He hit it and landed on the bench of the bullpen out over the 398 mark.
Home run number 18, 65 RBIs now for Chipper Jones. Braves lead at 3-0. And here's Andrew Jones, who struck out his first time.
It's the 27th home run allowed by Myers. And granted, this is a home run haven, but nothing cheap about that one.
And now Chipper within 200 hits of 2,000 for his career. That's high in the air. Got some carry to it, though. Kenny Lofton backpedaling to the edge of the warning track to make the catch. But a little 2-out thunder for Atlanta. Chipper Jones 3-run homer.
In support of the American Red Cross Relief Fund and help those affected by Hurricane Katrina. Call 1-800-HELP-NOW or go online at www.redcross.org or MLB.com to see how you can help.
3-0 Atlanta. Chase Utley will lead off here in the bottom of the 3rd. He drew a walk in the 1st inning. Sosa goes to work and misses high, ball 1. So good news for Braves fans tonight as the Braves jump on top of the Phillies here early. ball, 1 strike. Boy, Chipper's last 2 home runs have been big ones, haven't they?
Sure have.
That game winner up in Washington. Here's the 1-1 out of Utley, and it's popped up. Chipper Jones in foul territory, has just enough room. 1 out in the bottom of the 3rd for Bobby Abreu. Braves got some not so good news regarding another one of their players today, pitcher Mike Hampton, who met today with Dr. Dave Altchek in New York City. And Dr. Altchek confirmed the earlier diagnosis that had been made by the Braves medical staff that the source of Hampton's forearm pain is coming from his elbow, and now they're talking about the possibility of Tommy John surgery being necessary. Mike's going to meet the team in New York this weekend, and a final determination will be made in the near future as to whether or not Tommy John surgery will be required for Mike Hampton. If it is, you're talking 18 months there. It's not just a couple of weeks.
Right. And the worst part about that, I mean, you hate it when it happens to any pitcher, but Mike was having arguably his best season, off to his best start. He was pitching great for Atlanta, and they certainly have missed him in the rotation and will continue to miss him. Well,
it was a mystery to everybody as to what the problem was. They really couldn't. Anytime they examined anything in the forearm area, they were unable to find anything there, but there was pain, and it was there consistently when he would throw. And now they say it's something up in the elbow that's causing that pain in the forearm, and that the only way to fix it is to go in there and reconstruct the elbow. That's certainly not the news that Mike Hampton wanted to hear, nor has he decided yet, nor has the team decided yet, if that's what the final solution will be. They may explore some other options.
Dr. Joe Chandler, though, did concur on that analysis, and
he may seek a third opinion. Here's the 2-2 on the way to Abreu, and that's hit foul off to the right. Also today, Bobby Cox telling us that John Foster, left-hander in the Braves bullpen, as Bobby put it, his elbow's barking a little. It means his elbow's a little sore. So they're shutting him down for the time being, and they called up left-hander Chuck James, who pitched at 3 different levels in the Braves minor league system this year: Myrtle Beach, Mississippi, and Richmond. That's a base hit for Abreu. Hit number 3 off Sosa.
And guess where Chuck's from?
Another local.
Yes, he is, out of Mableton, Georgia, an Atlanta suburb.
Has had 2 back-to-back terrific minor league seasons, and he is now wearing a big league uniform. Pat Burrell, the batter, with a runner at first, 1 out. Burrell popped to third his first time.
It's like he wanted a seat out there front and center in the bullpen so he could see what was going on in his first big league game.
I don't blame him at all. You know, a lot of times, and I'm sure you've known a lot of players like this, maybe it was true of you. I know I've never asked you this question before. A lot of times when a player gets called up to the major leagues, the first big league game he sees is that first day.
My third. It was my 3rd major league game.
I'm sure Chuck James had seen some Braves games before, being from Mableton. Runner on the move, and Burrell pops it foul back out of play in the count 0-1. 3-0 Atlanta. We're in the bottom half of the 3rd. Braves will bus on up to New York after the game tonight. Open up a 3-game set with the Mets tomorrow night. John Smoltz, Pedro Martinez again. That'll be the 4th time they've met this year. That's the way the series will begin tomorrow.
Mets blew 1 today. Washington beat them in extra innings.
Well, the Mets have fallen totally out of the picture now. They're 4 games under 500. They went all year long with everybody in the division over 500, everybody in the division still alive. In these last 2 weeks, they've just folded.
They gave up an unearned run in the 9th inning to tie it and lost it in the 10th.
Here's the 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. That's the way the East looks. And no concessions at all from Jack McKeon or Charlie Manuel.
No sirree, Bob.
5 games back and games left with the team on top. That's who they're shooting for. If the wild card is the consolation prize, so be it. But the big prize is the title at the top of the division.
Rarely does a team that comes out before a 4-game series and says we need to win 3 out of 4 are they able to accomplish that? They're not focused on the game at hand. They're already looking 4 days down the road. But the Phillies have done that. Billy Wagner and others for the Phillies said we need to take at least 3 out of 4 from Atlanta.
Runner moving again. The pitch, a strike. The throw by McCann is also a strike, but a good jump by Bobby Abreu got him in there. That's Abreu's 29th steal of the year.
He's been a 30-30 guy before. He's got to hit a few home runs here the last couple of weeks to do that again. But he just kept extending his lead even after the attempted steal when Burrow fouled one off. Braves didn't do much to try to shorten that lead, and he took advantage of it.
So yet another runner in scoring position. Jorge Sosa should feel right at home. This seems to be his comfort zone. In the air to right field, Francoeur heading back to the warning track hauls it in, and Abreu got himself halfway between second and third, so he's unable to tag and move over. That was not good base running by Bobby Abreu. 2 men are out. The batter will be Ryan Howard.
It's okay to break on that when you see the ball hit so hard, but right here he should have already been going back to second base, and then he even took a couple of steps to third. He should have been going back as soon as he saw Francoeur drawing a beat on that line drive. He should have been standing on second.
Howard flied to center to end the first inning. Phillies left the bases loaded in the first inning. They left runners at second and third in the second inning. They have a runner at second, 2 outs here in the third. Ball 1 to Ryan Howard. Very humid night here in Philadelphia. We've had rain off and on for the last couple of days. It rained hard at times, a couple of times today. But a very comfortable night. It's not that hot, but it is very humid.
I like the way they're pitching Howard. I know you mentioned that they want to try to keep him from getting his arms extended, Pete, but he loves to pull the ball. And they're trying to throw him some soft stuff away to see if he continues to try to go after that stuff to try and pull it. He doesn't have to. He's got power the other way.
He's got 8 opposite field home runs too.
And one against Sosa earlier this year that was just a pop-up.
That'll fly out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
But by working that outside and throwing some soft stuff away, if he gets a steady diet of it, all of a sudden that pitch inside becomes much more effective.
28 of those pitches came in the first inning. And that's not been uncommon either for Sosa to be up around the 100 pitch mark by the 6th inning.
No.
Into left field, jammed him.
There's that inside pitch that got in on him.
Langer hands there for the catch. That leaves another runner in scoring position for the Phillies. And the Braves maintain their lead. Three-0 Atlanta, 4th inning. Adam LaRoche to lead it off, Joe.
Thanks, Pete. Adam struck out his first time up. 1 for 5 in the series. Francoeur to follow, and then Ryan Langerhans. LaRoche 1 for 11 against Myers so far in his career. One of the things Terry Pendleton talks about with respect to hitters when they're struggling is that if they're striding too far, sometimes they get caught with their foot in the air as the pitch is being delivered. He wants them to get that front foot down on the ground and to start their swing. Chase Utley with a good play. Had a little trouble getting it out of his glove, but robs LaRoche of a base hit.
Good play by Utley. 1 out. Let's give you today's Aflac trivia question. And here it comes. How many players in Braves franchise history have had 130 or more RBIs in a season? That's what Andrew Jones is shooting for. He has 125 now. How many have had 130 or more?
Remember, that goes back to Boston. Francoeur takes low. He struck out on a 3-2 pitch his first time up. 4 for 23 on the road trip. Fouls off that changeup. Jeff said the first game here he got caught up in home run derby, knowing it's a small ballpark. He had heard so much about it. He was trying to hit one out and paid for it, and then went back to his line drive swing and approach in game 2 and started picking up a few more hits. A couple going the other way. To second, and a little easier play for Utley. 2 down. Send it to Mark Fine for an update in our studio.
All right, Joe. Oakland and Boston. Kurt Schilling starting again. Kurt Schilling struggling again. Mark Kotsay driving in 2 runs. The A's lead this one 2-0. They're in the second. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Mark. Oakland's relentless, aren't they? They're just not going to go away. Just a game back of the Angels coming into play today. Langerhans takes a strike. Ryan popped to center his first time. Jorge Sosa firing blanks again. Struggled through the first 2 innings. We're in the 4th now, and he leads 3-0 thanks to a Chipper Jones homer. There's no question that Andrew, with the year he's had, not only is the MVP of the Atlanta Braves, I think he'll be the MVP of the league too, Pete, or should be. But if you look at the pitching staff and consider everything that went into the injuries and all that, you'd have to consider Jorge Sosa maybe the most valuable pitcher.
Well, he's certainly been the most valuable at certain times this year. When 3 starters broke down all at once early in the year, he stepped in and filled a huge void there and pitched well enough that he's still in the rotation.
And he's 8-0 on the road with a 1.71 ERA. Soft liner past Howard into right field. Braves got their rally started last inning, and Langerhan's going to try to take 2, and he's going to make it. With Howard way off the bag going for that line drive, Ryan Langerhans never stopped around first base and took full advantage of Abreu's lackadaisical play for a double. How about that?
This has the fans here a little bit upset. Just a little bloop single under normal circumstances, but Abreu lays back on the ball. Doesn't charge the ball. Langerhans, who always goes all out, able to get second base. Wasn't even close.
They'll take the bat out of McCann's hand. It makes Sosa do the damage with 2 out, but still, that was an outstanding effort. This will be the 3rd walk issued by Myers. The thing of it is, Langerhans could see Howard and Utley in front of him. There's nobody behind him. He could go as far as he wanted to see what Abreu was going to do. Take a look at this.
It's the same Ryan Langerhans that last night, with the Braves trailing 11-3, beat out a routine ground ball 6-4-3. It should have been, but Langerhans was safe at first. He just took advantage there of Abreu not charging the ball.
Yeah.
He saw him laying back on that, just assuming that Langerhans was going to stop at first. Most runners would have.
Yeah, they would have. Sosa with a chance to help himself. Struck out looking his first time. He had a base hit in Washington, though, his last outing, right down the first base line, and he's got a lot of room down the line here. One and one. Breaking ball. Myers ahead in the count. Sosa 3 for 26 with 14 strikeouts. Got him with a curve, made him flinch. Myers avoids any more trouble. We go to the bottom of the fourth.
Three have had 130 or more RBIs in the season. How many of these did you get? Eddie Matthews, Gary Sheffield, Hank Aaron, Wally Berger. Sheffield, the Atlanta record, 132. Matthews had 135. That's the franchise record. And Andrew has a shot at both.
I didn't know about Wally Berger. Bottom third of the order for the Phillies. David Bell leads off the fourth.
That was back in the Boston Braves days.
Bell line to center his first time up. Lines this one over third. Fair ball. Langer hands over to get it in the corner, but Bell will have a leadoff double. Fourth hit of the night for the Phillies.
But so far none of this has mattered. They've had runners in scoring position all night long, and Sosa keeps shutting them down, leaving those runners out there. This is the first time they've had their leadoff man on at second base. Let's see how Sosa handles this situation.
Pratt popped up to center his last time up, but he's 4 for 10 on this homestand. Chased a bad ball there. Good slider. Pitchers on deck and no activity in the Phillies bullpen. Another slider. 0-2. Florida and Houston are underway down at Minute Maid Park. They're in the top of the second. No score. Andy Pettit on the mound for Houston. Good stop by McCann. 1-2. Sosa 6'2", 175 pounds. Couldn't get him to chase that one, and the count even 2-2.
I bet he weighs a little more than that now. Sometimes those weights that are listed are the weights that they were when they were originally signed. They never change. I bet he's closer to 190 or so now.
I would think so. Shook off a sign. And took a little off and got the strikeout. Big out there. That's been a very good pitch for him tonight. Got some big outs.
Gets his first strikeout of the game with this one. And now the pitcher batting with that runner still at second.
And throwing it for strikes too. If it's not a strike, it's close to the corner to make the hitter's offer. Brett Myers single to right his first time up. Takes a strike. Myers has a unique approach. He steps toward third and hits toward first. It was his 9th hit of the year back in the second inning. Two.
Here are the numbers on Sosa tonight, just to tell you what we're talking about here. With the bases empty, hitters are 3 for 8 against him. That's a .375 average. With runners in scoring position, they're 0 for 6. With 2 outs and runners in scoring position, they're 0 for 3.
Out of play.
And it's been this way game after game after game that he's pitched. I don't recommend that.
No, I would
for
say
young pitchers.
I would say that's a good approach. Just to work out of the stretch all the time. Got good wood on that one. That pitch was up. He's a big guy, Myers. 6'4", 225. I think they need to reweigh him too. He's a lot bigger than 225. But if you watch his stride as Sosa's delivering the ball, he's stepping right toward Chipper Jones. So anything up, he could still reach. Couldn't reach that one. That was a good pitch. Back-to-back strikeouts. Mark Fine, have you got another update for us?
Sure do, Joe. You just mentioned Houston. St. Louis with a chance to clinch the division tonight if they win and Houston loses. Larry Walker gets them started. RBI double off Mark Pryor. They now lead at 3-0, bottom of the first. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you very much. Cardinals off to a good start tonight. Here's Jimmy Rollins, who was given a hit by the official scorer in the second inning on what should have been an error to extend his hitting streak to 21 games. He's also lined out. Another good breaking ball. 0-1. Even with 2 out, Chipper plays in on the grass. Well hit to center. Andrew got a good break on it and hauls it in, and Sosa leaves another runner in scoring position after the leadoff double by Bell. Top of the order for Atlanta in the 5th. Rafael Furcal looks at one outside. He got the rally started in the 3rd inning with a 2-out single to left. Stole a base. Then Giles walked. Then Chipper hit one in the Phillies bullpen. 2-0. Third hit of the series for Rafael. He's 3 for 15. Rollins had him cheated up the middle, and he throws high and throws it away, and that one does sail into the dugout. More accurately, into the camera well. That'll be an E6, and for calls at second base. I wonder if they'll give Rafael a base hit.
What the world's going on out there tonight? 2 of the usually sure-armed shortstops in the league both have uncorked wild throws here. Almost identical hit balls.
Ryan Howard is 6'4". He tried to keep his foot on the bag and haul that one in, but just out of his reach. So a good start to the Atlanta 5th. Giles is going to bunt him over, and he will. Good job. The call's at third for Chipper, who's already driven in 3 tonight. Sacrifice goes 1-3. Take a look at this blast Chipper hit in the 3rd inning, his 18th of the year.
Gave him 2 outs, runners first and second on the first pitch from Brett Myers, deep into the Philadelphia bullpen.
He also lined to left deep his first time up. It's a curve. Have you noticed how the Braves hitters are getting smart after a homer? They take their helmet off before they get to the dugout to avoid that bashing they take if they've got their helmet on.
I don't blame them.
Perfect situation for Chipper. Runner at third, less than 2 outs, and the infield in. Change up missed. Two and 1. Andrew on deck. Fastball jammed him. Shallow left field. That won't get him home. Furcal bluffs to draw a throw, but Chipper not happy with himself on that one.
Now it's time for our Best Buy Authority report. We turn to our own in-house authority, Mr. Joe Simpson.
It goes back to something you were talking about, Pete, earlier. That wide stance that Andrew employed from spring training on, and he could have abandoned that. but it goes to show you that if you stay with something, good things will happen. And that's what I think Terry Pendleton's most proud about of Andrew this year, is his willingness to stay with that, knowing it would work for him, and it certainly has. 1-0. Remember, he had 10 home runs in spring training.
Spring training, right?
And then got off to a crummy start.
So there was some proof in his mind anyway that it could work. Even though he had that slump early in the year.
2-0. 2 out. Here's a situation similar to what we were talking about at the beginning of the game too, Pete, about how teams will pitch around him in RBI situations in the playoffs, depending on who's batting behind him and how hot they are. I don't know about that one. 2-2. They went after him inside, and he did go after that pitch. But I don't know why you would pitch to him here. I think that's a mistake, especially the way Adams has been going. Out. Full count.
See Bobby Cox's return to his customary corner in the dugout. He went down there just long enough for Chipper to hit that 3-run homer. He said, all right, now we're cooking.
Got his mojo back. Three-2. Got him with an off-speed pitch. Nothing but curves, with the exception of the one fastball he fouled off. And Myers able to pitch around the error. We go to the bottom of the 5th.
12 and Pac-10 college football this fall on TBS.
Kenny Lofton leads off for the Phillies in the 5th inning. He's reached on an error, stolen a base, and grounded out. And he's sent this fly ball foul. There's a case in point for this ballpark. That was just a fly ball pop-up. That was within about 10 feet of going out of the park, distance-wise. Go rope to center. Kenny leveled off on that high pitch. 5th hit of the night, and another leadoff man aboard for the Phillies. Chase Utley has walked and fouled out.
Even though he's been able to pitch out of these situations all night so far, the one drawback to pitching with a lot of runners on base is the number of pitches you're using. And it has not been at all uncommon for Sosa to get to this stage of the game, 5th, 6th inning, and hit that 100 pitch mark, and you have to get your bullpen involved early.
That was one of the things that was so impressive about his outing in Washington. Forget how many.
That was the first time he's pitched into the 8th inning.
What did he throw? 80
through 99 pitches.
99.
So he didn't even hit 100 pitches, and he was 8 innings deep into that game.
Paying a lot of attention to Lofton, and missed with that breaking ball. 1-0.
His previous 3 starts, 89 pitches, 86 pitches, 93 pitches in 5, 5, and 6 innings.
Lofton draws another throw. His stolen base tonight is 14th of the year. He's been caught twice. Like he's been on base every at bat in this series, much like he was in the '95 World Series for Cleveland against Atlanta. 2-0. Abreu on deck. Utley hitting 287 coming into the game and hitting 289 for the homestand. There goes Lofton. Ground ball right side. Cut off by Giles. Good play. That saved a hit. One away. Lofton in scoring position for Abreu. Bob has walked, singled, and he's swiped a bag.
Sosa now the string of 13 consecutive scoreless innings. And in that same situation again now. Runner at second base with one out.
Well, we're here to vouch for the fact that not every one of those 13 innings has been 3 up and 3 down either.
No, sir.
Has not had one of those types of innings tonight. This tie 1-0. Crowd's filled in a little bit. Looks like we're going to have the best attendance of the series here tonight. High strike call, 1-1.
These Philly fans have kind of a built-in pessimism. They are always afraid that something's going to go wrong that's going to spoil any comeback effort that their team makes. And they'll know a whole lot more about their team by this time next week. They've got 3 games in Florida, then 3 games in Atlanta starting tomorrow night.
Pretty good breaking ball, but it's 2-1. Well, they will be as big with Florida as those 3 games were with Houston that they had here during this homestand that they got swept. Seemed like it knocked them out of the wild card chase, and I think that's when all the fans went south.
Now they've come back and won 4 straight.
Out of play. 2-2 to Abreu. He's bounced back with more hits during this homestand. Came in hitting .345 for the homestand, which the Phillies have gone 5-4. But most of his damage, home run and RBI wise, done in the first half. 2-2 is in the dirt, full count. First base open, but the tying run is on deck, and Pat Burrell. Braves got a 3-run homer from Chipper in the 3rd inning, if you just joined us. Big pitch here. Took a little off, and he fouled it off.
Closing in on 90 pitches already. This will be number 88.
Florida and Houston still scoreless after 2. Washington already won today. They beat the Mets 6-5 in extra innings. Well hit and gone. Three to 2. Number 24 for Abreu. RBI is 95 and 96.
That was a terrific at bat. He fouled off a couple of pitches that were pitcher's pitches, and he finally got one to his liking. Right down the middle, about knee high. Look at a nice smooth swing.
Great tempo. Doesn't try to muscle anything. He just lets his hands do the work. "13 of the 24 homers he's hit this year have come with 2 strikes on him." That was a 3-2 pitch. Burrell is popped to third and lined to right. Breaking ball left upstairs, and could be that Sosa is beginning to tire. His consecutive shutout string ends at 13 innings.
Wayne Boyer getting up in the Atlanta bullpen.
Just missed 2-1. Sosa needs to get through the fifth to be the pitcher of record if he has the lead to get the win. Two and two. You mentioned those 3 games down in Florida, Pete. John Lever against Brian Moeller, Vincente Padilla against Dontrell Willis, and then Brito against Beckett. Giles with another good play. 2 down. That'll bring up Ryan Howard, who has flied out twice, once to center, once to left. Sosa's pitched him tough tonight. Perhaps the biggest at bat of the night came with the bases loaded and 1 out in the first inning, and Sosa was able to get Pat Burrell to pop up, but then with 2 out he got Howard to fly out to deep center. Breaking ball missed. 2-0. To Giles again. Marcus has been a busy man this inning, and he handles it. But a 2-run homer by Bob Abreu makes it a 1-run game.
An incredible amount of pressure.
You know, I don't know if I ever felt pressure like this. You know that those last 10 races, you can't make a mistake.
NASCAR Nextel Cup racing from Loudon, Sunday at 12:30. When it counts, it's on TNT.
3-2 our score now, and Adam LaRoche will lead off for the Braves in the 6th. He's already led off 2 innings. The 2nd and the 4th tonight with a strikeout and a ground out. Joe and Pete with you from Citizens Bank Park, and LaRoche puts a charge in one. Did he get a run back? He did on the first pitch of the inning. Adam LaRoche with his 16th homer. That'll pick up his spirits.
Yeah, maybe this will get him going. This would not have been a home run in a lot of other ballparks. Only went about 345 feet or so, 350 maybe. But it's enough in this ballpark. On the first pitch from Myers.
Fastball down the middle. Francoeur is struck out and grounded out. Hardy on that fastball. 0-1. Oh, don't hit him in the head, boys.
Now he's already had that experience on this trip. With a baseball hit about 90 miles an hour at him.
Still got a little bit of a lump on the right side of his face near his ear. Two and one. Frenchie. Foul tip. 2-2.
Well, that's a huge spot in the game to hit one too. Just after you've given up 2 runs to get the other team back to within 1.
Huge.
First pitch next half inning. Boom! It's a 2-run lead again.
Get a little momentum back. Fastball. Jeff's looked like he was set up to pull something the 2 times he was struck out tonight, and he's gotten fastballs away and had some funny swings at him.
Yeah, he won't be happy with that at bat. He chased a pitch that was not a strike.
7th strikeout for Myers. The season high is 10. He's done that twice, and they were in back-to-back starts in May. Langerhans had a hustle double last time up. Took advantage of Bob Abreu's lackadaisical effort to get to the ball. He's also flied out. It's out of play. 2-1. Langerhans average 255, as you see. Two for 10 against Myers in his career with a double and a triple. 2-2. That was Adam LaRoche's first home run since August 18th. To Rollins. 2 out. And Mark Fine has an update for us in the studio. Mark?
Yeah, well, this one was fun. Check this out. New York at Tampa Bay. Aaron Small on the mound. Johnny Gomes takes one to center. And watch Bernie Williams going back, and then suddenly ball kind of disappears. Falls in front of him. Of course, it went off the catwalk out there in Tampa. That counts as a home run. 5-1. Tampa Bay leads it in the 6th. Back to you guys.
Gomes a big guy, isn't he?
Arena baseball.
That's horrible. Tropicana Park. Tropicana Field. Any way you call it. 0-1 to McCann, who has grounded out and walked. It was an intentional walk back in the 4th after Langerhans double.
The crack of the bat when you hit a home run should not be followed by a clang.
No, it shouldn't. But anytime you watch a highlight from that ballpark, you know immediately where you are because it's so dark and unbaseball-like. That might stay in play, but Bell's got a long way to go, and he runs out of room.
Tell you one thing, the Devil Rays have had the Yankees number this year. Yankees took the first 2 games in that series, but Tampa Bay on top of that one now 5-1, and they have beaten up on the Yankees all season long, especially the second half of the year. That might be the reason if the Yankees don't make it, that'll be a big part of the reason why they didn't.
You're right. Curveball, pulled past Howard, base hit. And this time Brett Myers went over to cover first, make sure that McCann didn't advance past first.
They're going to try to get one more inning out of Jorge Sosa. Between innings, we saw Bobby Cox go over to Sosa and then to Brian McCann. And you can see how much Brian McCann has grown in Bobby's estimation when he's going over and asking a 21-year-old catcher, has he got anything left? Can he give me one more inning?
Contact for Jorge, but he fouled it back.
He's had to go to the bullpen so early on this road trip almost every night. He's going to try to stretch out these starters as long as he possibly can.
One and one to count. We'll see how the Phillies played in the bottom of the 6th. Myers due up 3rd.
Yeah, they got the bottom 3rd of the order up, so that plays into it too.
Hey, sharply hit, but Utley's there. Gets the force out, inning over. A home run by Adam LaRoche on the first pitch of the inning. It's the bottom 3rd of the order for the Phillies. Bell, Pratt, and Myers.
They do, as they do in most ballparks here, between innings, they just show shots of the crowd out on the big screen here in left center field. And I think they just showed a shot of a couple who was having a bit of a disagreement.
Oh, boy.
They did not look to be too happy with each other.
And the man told the girl, they were a young couple, told the girl they were on the big screen. She just buried her face in her hands. David Bell doubled his last time up. That was leading off the 4th, but he didn't get off 2nd. He's 1 for 2 tonight. Pitch number 98 for Sosa. Upstairs, ball 1. Blaine Boyer joined in the bullpen by McKay McBride for Atlanta, and the Phillies have a right-hander throwing too. Slider missed, 2-1. Sosa going for his 12th win of the year, and he leads 4-2. In the air down the line, that should reach the seats, and it does. By the way, Robinson Cano has hit a grand slam for the Yankees to tie that game already with the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. It's 5-5 there in the 6th. Ryan Madsen is the right-hander loosening up for the Phillies. And Hal Galima looked it up for us. Tampa Bay leads the season series against the Yankees 11-7. This will be the last meeting of the year between the two.
How about the White Sox getting beat again today by Kansas City? Their lead down to 4.5 games now over Cleveland.
That's a testy schedule that's coming up too. 3-1, 3-2 make it. White Sox still have 7 games left with Minnesota and 6 games left with Cleveland. 3-2 pitch, a bouncer to short for called charges and fires low, and he's made another error. Something in the air out in the infield tonight. That's the 3rd error on Atlanta this evening. 2nd by Furcal.
2 throwing errors by Furcal. Jimmy Rollins has made a throwing error. Just a routine play. Low throw, and that's one that LaRoche normally digs out, but he didn't come up with that one. These are 2 of the better defensive teams in the National League, and they're not playing that way tonight.
3 errors by Atlanta. None have factored in the scoring as yet. Todd Pratt has flied out and struck out. The deep right center, but Andrew has room. He's got it. Bell tags, draws a throw, but he won't advance. And Shane Victorino just named the International League most valuable player while playing at Scranton. Will pinch hit.
Remember when San Diego started out the season with him in the outfield in 2003? They thought he was going to be a great leadoff hitter. He's got great speed, steals a lot of bases, but he only hit 150 and got sent back to the minor leagues.
He hit .310 at Scranton. Fouls that one back. He had 25 doubles, 16 triples, 18 homers, 70 RBIs, and stole 17 bases. Odd thing about it, Pete, is they got him in the Rule 5 draft from the Padres, but the Padres didn't want him back when the Phillies sent him to AAA. One and one the count.
Native of Hawaii.
Brett Myers goes 6 innings, gives up 5 hits and 4 runs. All the runs came because of a home run. 3-run homer by Chipper, leadoff homer by LaRoche in the 6th. Out of play. He walked 3, struck out 7, gave up 2 home runs, and Myers now for the year has given up 28 home runs. Sosa would like a ground ball to shorten this inning. Fast runner at the plate. Still 1-2.
One thing working a little bit in Jorge Sosa's favor right now, if the Braves stay with a 5-man rotation, he'll get an extra day with the day off on Monday, so he can go a little longer tonight.
Another 1-2 pitch. In the air to right center. Francoeur on the run. And tracks it down. David Bell will have to hustle back to first. And has to go in head first as Francoeur throws back. Good play by Jeff. In deep right center, 2 down. no question in my mind, Pete, that this threesome, Langerhans, Jones, and Francoeur, as good an outfield as the Braves have had over this great run they've been on.
There may not be a better one in defensively in baseball anywhere right now. They all three are center fielders by trade.
Yeah.
They all can cover a lot of ground, and they all have great throwing arms.
Jimmy Rollins, 1 for 3 tonight. The hit was a gift from the official scorer. Takes a strike. Rollins during this streak now with 31 hits in 91 at bats. His previous high was 12. There's a solid single. Now it's official. Good piece of hitting there by Jimmy Rollins. Runners at first and second, and 2 out for Lofton, who's 1 for 3 tonight. He's been on base twice. He's stolen a base and scored a run.
It's going to be it for Sosa.
So Blaine Boyer, the left-hander, is going to get the call to pitch to Lofton. We'll find out what Charlie Manuel does when we come back. Let's send it to the studio and Mark Fine.
All right, thanks very much, Joe. You know, Pete was talking about arena baseball down in Tampa Bay. The New York Yankees, they don't care, arena ball, whatever ball. They want to stay in this thing. 2.5 behind Boston coming in. Robinson Cano, Joe, you mentioned this shot. Grand slam to tie things up at 5, but the Yankees were not done in the inning. MVP candidate Alex Rodriguez, just a monster shot to straightaway center field. Yanks now lead at 7-5. We'll be back with more Braves and Phillies after a quick timeout. Keep it in.
5 2/3 innings, gives up 7 hits and 2 runs so far. Walked 2, struck out 2, gave up a home run to Bob Abreu, and McKay McBride on to pitch for Atlanta. Kenny Lofton was due up, but he's been called back, and Jason Michaels will pinch hit for the Phillies. There are McKay McBride's numbers. League hitting .263 against him. Jason Michaels having a very good year for the Phillies, platooning in center field. Takes a strike.
27,804 is the crowd tonight. That's the biggest crowd of the series.
Michaels 5 for 24 as a pinch hitter for the year. And McBride quickly gets ahead 0-2. Boy, is that important in this situation. 2 on, 2 out, 2 strikes. Just missed. Pretty good fastball from McBride. 93. In the dirt, another nice block by McCann. 2-2. Bell runs pretty well at second base, just probably average, but there's a burner at first, and Rollins represents a tying run. Time called before McBride could deliver. Michaels has hit Atlanta well for the year. 10 for 26, 2 homers, 9 driven in. 385 average. Ball missed. Full count. Got ahead 0-2. Chase Utley's a left-handed hitter. He's on deck. Phillies have already stranded 7. They have 2 more out there now, and they're running. And that's out of play. Another 3-2 pitch due to Michaels. There go the runners. Now to play again.
If he loses him here and has to face Chase Utley, left-hand hitters against McKay McBride this year, 1 for 20 with 12 strikeouts.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, when he gets brought in to face a left-handed hitter, they usually get pinch hit for.
They won't pinch hit for Utley.
To center, but right at Andrew in his tracks. He's got it. The Phillies have stranded 9 tonight. We go to the 7th. Braves still up by 2. Good job by McBride. He wants to know who was the last player to win Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same season. Wasn't that long ago, Pete. Ichiro Suzuki of the Seattle Mariners did it just a couple of years ago. Although a lot of people would kind of wince at the term rookie for him when he came over from Japan.
First pitch to Rafael Furcal down the right field line, and fair. Furcal on his way to second. He'll pull in with a stand-up double. That ball was hugging the line all the way down into the corner to greet Ryan Madson, who's taken over for Brett Myers. And a good start to the 7th inning for Atlanta as Furcal drops his 26th double of the year.
Might have had a triple if he'd run hard. I think he was in his home run trot. Either that or he thought it was going to go foul. That pitch was inside, but he kept it fair. It didn't hook any. And hit about 3 feet away from going out of the ballpark, and then he started running hard.
Now Giles fouling one off. Marcus tonight has walked twice and had a sacrifice bunt. He has no official at bats yet. That double by Furcal, hit number 6 for Atlanta. Against the guy the Braves have always had trouble with, Ryan Madson.
He is tough.
That's back off Madson's glove, fielded by Rollins though, and the flip throw to first is in time to get Giles. That'll be a 1-6-3. It'll get the runner over to third and bring up Chipper Jones, who has another RBI opportunity.
He had a 3-run homer back in the 3rd inning. A blast well over 400 feet into the Phillies bullpen. He had another RBI opportunity in the 5th inning after Furcal got on an error, and then was bunted to third base by Giles, but Chipper popped up and Andrew struck out. Couldn't get him in.
Chipper now with 18 home runs in what has been an injury-plagued year for him. He's missed a lot of games. About 50 games he's missed. One ball, no strikes.
Right-handers especially have a hard time with this guy because of his deceiving delivery. A little bit of a 3/4 delivery, throws across his body, steps over toward the third base line, and he throws hard.
Infield in again as Chipper takes ball 2 from Madson.
Chipper can get something out away from him this at bat.
2-1.
Good changeup.
Magic number for Atlanta is 12. Braves leading here. Houston leading Florida 1-0 in the 4th inning in Houston. The count 2-2.
That's a good pitch by Madson. Against a hard thrower like this, I mean, most hitters are concerned about getting tied up. The farther the ball is away from them, the more they can get their arms extended, and that was just a good pitch on the corner that Chipper didn't offer.
In the air, deep center field. Michaels back to the warning track, back to the wall. Chipper's got 2 home runs tonight and 5 RBIs, and the Braves take a 6-2 lead. And both of Chipper's home runs tonight have had some kind of distance on them.
Went to the well one too many times. He got him to swing and miss at a changeup early in the count. Came back with it, and Chipper was looking for it and just raked it. Stayed back, kept his hands back. Another 400-foot-plus homer.
19 home runs for Chipper Jones. 67 RBIs, 5 of them tonight.
See the collapse of Todd Pratt there. He knew that Chipper was sitting on that pitch.
Now Andrew Jones is 0 for 3. And takes ball 1. Well, it was Chipper Jones that pulled the Braves back from a seemingly disastrous loss on Sunday. And it's Chipper Jones that's pulling the Braves back from a seemingly disastrous series with the Phillies tonight.
It's the 7th home run allowed by Madsen in 71 appearances.
Two balls and a strike on Andrew Jones.
Yeah, Chipper's come up huge, and don't forget about his strained quad muscle here that he suffered in the first game. I asked him about it before the game tonight. He said it was getting much better already.
Foul back 2-2. Ryan Madsen in 15 previous appearances against Atlanta had given up only 1 earned run in 19 innings of work. So the Braves have doubled that in 1/3 of an inning tonight. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And you could see how uncomfortable he makes Andrew. That delivery of his, a little different from the right side than from the left. No surprise that both hits this inning have come from left-handed hitters.
I think he went, yes. That'll be a strikeout for Madsen. Out number 2 in the inning, and it'll bring up Adam LaRoche. All the Braves runs tonight have come on the long ball. A 3-run homer by Chipper Jones, a 2-run homer by Chipper Jones, and a solo homer by Adam LaRoche. Leading off the 6th inning.
First baseman Adam LaRoche.
Adam had some good swings in Washington in that series when he was trying to get back on the beam. Even some outs that he made were hard hit. So to get some results like a home run from a hard hit ball tonight, make him feel a lot better.
Another base hit for LaRoche. And all 3 left-hand hitters in the inning have come through. That'll bring up Jeff Francoeur. The 5 RBIs from Chipper Jones ties a career high. That's up the middle, caught by a leaping Chase Utley. Takes a base hit away from Francoeur. And for one of the few times ever, the Braves get something done against Ryan Madsen. Chipper Jones. Well, there's the hero of the night. It's 6-2 Atlanta. We go to the bottom half of the 7th inning. Chase Utley leads it off against McKay McBride. We told you about the 1 for 20 that lefties are hitting against McBride with 12 strikeouts. See how Utley fares here. Ball 1. Utley tonight 0 for 2 of the walk. 5th inning now in Houston with the Astros still up 1-0 over Florida, penned against Vargas. Strike in the inside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Has McBride's fastball surprised you a little bit, Pete, with how hard he can throw at times?
Yeah.
I mean, he had a 93 tonight. I never realized he could throw that hard until he got to the big leagues.
Well, we didn't see that much of him in spring training.
Right.
He pitched a little bit for the Braves in spring training, but I always thought he was a breaking ball type guy. I didn't realize he had the power pitcher makeup that he has. He's got a good fastball and a good breaking ball.
He's crafty, but he's got a little sizzle on his fastball.
Yes, he does. Down the left side, it's still a ball and 2 strikes on Utley.
And with Foster nursing a tender elbow, he's going to get more and more opportunities in situations where they need a left-hander retired. Key situations, as he did last inning, although Michaels pinch hit.
Well, lefties are now 1 for 21 against McKay McBride, and another one's coming up now. Bobby Abreu.
Giles has had a good night defensively. Another good play by Marcus. This may also, despite not having a base hit tonight, he has done a good job of moving runners over. He's walked twice, scored a run, and moved for call to third base twice tonight when he was at second with nobody out.
Abreu tonight has walked, singled, and hit a 2-run homer to account for the Philadelphia run. 6 runs, 8 hits, 3 errors tonight for Atlanta. 2 runs, 7 hits, 1 error for the Phillies. Ball 1 to Abreu.
Last look at the Philly Fanatic this year.
One of the best. 1-1.
The other night before the game, Eddie Perez stole the keys to his four-wheeler. He was on the field before the game, and Eddie wouldn't give his keys back until the Fanatic did 5 tomahawk chops.
One man out here in the bottom of the 7th. Deep right field. Francoeur headed toward the corner. He's going to have to play this one off the wall. Let's see this arm of Francoeur. Does he have another one? No. Abreu got in there just in time. Vercal thought he got him the second try, but Abreu had come off the bag, but Andy Fletcher called him safe that time too.
Bob Abreu had one thing in mind, and that was to pull the ball against McKay McBride, and he got something out away from him that he just kind of went out around. What a powerful effort there by Francoeur, and he did get him. Vercal did actually get him when Abreu was trying to find the bag after he slid past it. Look at this. Watch him try to get it with his elbow. He got him. Rafi's right. Unfortunately, second base umpire Andy Fletcher couldn't see that. Good camera work, guys.
And Vercal still questioning Andy Fletcher's call out there at second base. As the pitching change is made here.
Vercal was trying to get Abreu to admit it.
Abreu may have. Chris Reitzma coming on with Abreu at second. Pat Burrell at the plate.
You can see Abreu and Vercal talking it over out at second base. One of the disadvantages for Andy Fletcher on this play at second was his angle. You can see from where he is, he can't tell that Abreu slid off the bag here and wasn't resting on the bag. Rafael, of course, could see this angle and see that he never did get back to the base. Abreu caught a break.
Couple of changes here. Julio Franco takes over at first base. He'll be batting in the number 9 spot in the order. The new pitcher is Chris Reitzma, and for Reitzma, this is his 70th appearance. He'll be facing Pat Burrell with a runner at second, 1 out. Abreu now with a single, double, and a home run tonight. He's down at second base. Braves up 6-2. The hits are even at 8. Burrell tonight 0 for 3. Strike 1 from Reitzma. Houston's now upped its lead over Florida to 3-0. And they're still batting in the bottom of the 5th inning.
And the way Andy Pettit's been pitching, that's a huge lead.
Oh, and 0-2 now on Pat Burrell.
I don't know if you noticed on those numbers we showed you on Chris Reitsma, but he did have an abysmal August, but was the Rolaids relief man in July. And here in September, he's gotten back to normal for him. He's got his ERA for the month in the ones again. That's a great sign for the Braves pen.
Here's the 0-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Burrell. Phillies head to Florida for the weekend. McKay McBride 2/3 of an inning, 1 hit allowed. Got a big 3rd out in that bottom half of the 6th inning. Now Reitsma needs to get 2 outs here in the bottom half of the 7th. Two and two.
The way this ball club's been swinging the bat, the Phillies, you don't want to give them any extra opportunities to get back in this ball game with one long one. Don't walk anybody. Make them hit their way aboard.
Got way out in front there. And it's still 2 balls, 2 strikes, and Pat Burrell.
Change up.
Popped out foul.
It was a change, but not where Chris wanted it. He got away with that one. It's just far enough inside that Burrell couldn't get around on it.
We'll do it again. 2-2 to Burrell. Fastball is fouled back. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. You can see how the opportunities have been there tonight for the Phillies, but they have not been coming through with the run producing hits like they did in the first 3 games. Ball 3 gets away from McCann. That'll get Abreu over to 3rd. And the wild pitch will be charged to Chris Reitsma.
Makes the RBI opportunity a little better for Burrell, but they do trail by 4. And as good a job as McCann has done this whole series of blocking pitches in the dirt, he tried to pancake that one and paid for it. Burrell, we were talking about his RBI increase over the last 3 years. Back in 2002, he drove in 116 runs and hit 37 long ones.
Now another payoff pitch to Burrell is popped up. This will not get the run in. Chipper Jones making the call back in the grass behind 3rd base. 2 outs. And now Ryan Howard, who is 0 for 3 tonight. He's flied to center. He's flied to left. He's grounded out to 2nd.
See what Chris got him to pop up. Target's basically down the middle. I think it was a fastball. Remember the changeup that he popped up earlier in the game, Pete, where he was really tilted and trying to lift? That kind of got him in trouble on that pop up too.
Now Howard with 2 outs. That's up the middle, base hit, and a run scores. Abreu trotting home from 3rd, and that makes it 6-3. Howard driving in his 47th run of the year. And the Phillies trying to battle back here in the bottom half of the 7th inning. David Bell has flied to center. He's doubled. He's reached on a Rafael Furcal error.
Good looking player right here. Coming through with 2 outs in the clutch for the Phillies. We got a pitch right down the middle, looked like. Be
2 men out for Bell.
Be careful here. He likes the first pitch.
Takes a strike, 0-1. Phillies now with 9 hits in the game, 1 more than the Braves have. But the Braves have the 6-3 lead here in the 7th. Left center field, well hit. Ryan Langerhans back toward the corner. So is Andrew Jones. And Andrew hauls it in on the warning track about 380 feet away. Well, a close call, but David Bell is retired, and so are the Phillies. It's 6-3 Atlanta, heading to the 8th.
Collide, unbelievable. Gibson holds on to the ball. Both players would be okay, and Gibson gets your All-State good hands play. Now let's get it back to Joe Simpson and Pete Van Wieren in Philadelphia, guys.
Okay, Mark, boy, but there was some sighs of relief in that Houston dugout. The battle that they're involved in right now. Up 3-0 over Florida in the top half of the 6th inning down at Minute Maid Park. Real Cormier, the new pitcher, he's not had a very good year. Look at that ERA. He'll have the lower third of the order here, beginning with Ryan Langerhans. Madsen worked an inning, allowed 2 runs, 3 hits. Braves finally getting some damage done against him. Now they'll go to work on Cormier. That's fouled off at the plate. 0-1 by Ryan Langerhans. A double back in the 4th inning. There's a bunt attempt by Langerhans. Cormier reaching out and tagging Langerhans, and he got him, and he ran out of the baseline anyway, so he's out. Pitcher unassisted, 1 gone.
Cormier had the kind of year a couple of years ago that relievers dream about. He was in 65 games. He went 8-0 and had a 1.70 ERA. It's been a struggle for him since then, although a decent ERA last year, about 3.5.
It's kind of a day-to-day grind with a relief pitcher. They appear in so many games. Let's take a look at Brian McCann's scorecard, brought to you by T-Mobile. Base hit back in the 6th inning for Brian. You know, if you're pitching 5 games in 10 days and you have 1 game where you go a third of an inning, give up 3 runs, you're going to have a higher run average if you pitch 4 scoreless innings after that.
Take you a month to cover it up.
Yep. Then you have 2 or 3 days like that, and that's sometimes can mask a pretty good season out of the bullpen. Sometimes it doesn't. Here's the 0-2 pitch on the way to McCann. It's slow and outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Remember the year that John Smoltz started off and gave up like 6 runs in a third of an inning to the New York Mets early in the year when he was pitching in relief? It took him until August to get his ERA respectable. Just off the corner. 2-2. Julio Franco on deck. First strikeout for Cormier, 2 outs in the inning, and now Franco will bat for the first time. Julio hitting .279 with 9 homers, 42 RBIs.
Giants and Dodgers play later tonight out west, and that's good by the Padres. They're idle tonight. Dodgers and Giants tied for 2nd place in the National League West, 6 games back of San Diego. Arizona losing big tonight to Milwaukee. Well, it's a final 14-2. They were 6.5 out. Now 7. But that San Diego ball club still a game under 500. They're coasting.
A couple of days ago, San Diego and the New York Mets had the identical record, and the Padres were in first place with a record of a game under 500, and the Mets were in last.
Well, how about this? The Padres were I think it was 13 games over 500 going into June 1st. And since then, look at this. They've gone 39-54 since June 1st and have added 3 games to their lead. That's impossible.
2 outs here in the 8th inning. A 1-1 count on Franco. One and 2.
Good changeup.
Tomorrow night it is John Smoltz against Pedro Martinez for the 4th time this year at Shea Stadium. Two and 2. Rest of the weekend matchups: Tim Hudson against Steve Traxel on Saturday afternoon. John Thompson against Tom Glavine on Sunday afternoon. And the Braves back home on off day Monday, and these same Phillies will be at Turner Field on Tuesday night. 3 and 2 on Franco.
Yeah, they'll see Brett Myers again.
And there's your schedule. TBS tomorrow, a TBS extra game on Sunday, Turner South on Tuesday, and then TBS 1 week from today.
That game Saturday against the Mets, I think a Fox National game, if you want to check it out.
On the ground to short. 1, 2, 3 go the Braves in the 8th. Heading to the bottom half, still up 6-3.
Most comedians are on purpose.
Did you really beat a suspect unconscious with a dead cat? No. Cat wasn't dead.
Exit Wounds, Sunday night at 8 on TBS.
Todd Pratt leading off the 8th inning and fouling back the first pitch for the Phillies. He's 0 for 3 tonight. Chris Breetzma still out there. Braves possibly taking 2 steps closer tonight to clinching the division. Maybe get that magic number down to 10. They have to hold on here and hope that Houston can do the same against Florida.
At the start of this series, the Braves, if they had gone 10-9 their last 19 games, Florida was going to have to go 17-2 just to tie them. So losing the first 3 of this series started reducing that number for Florida. They got a little help last night from Houston, getting it again tonight.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Pratt. I was looking at the list of clinch dates in the Braves media guide since the string of titles began in 1991. They're all over the lot. See if anybody can get to this one. Yep, Andrew Jones runs it down. 3rd time tonight that Pratt has flied to center. And now we're going to get a pinch hitter.
Michael Tucker.
Michael Tucker's going to bat for Cormier. Braves have clinched divisions as early as September 9th. That happened in 2002. Only the 142nd game of the year. And they clinched as late as the last day of the season in 1993. And just about every date in between. That was that race with the Giants.
Yeah.
So I came up with a. Everybody's always saying, when are the Braves going to clinch? When are the Braves going to clinch? So here's what I did.
You know what I said today? When are the Braves going to clinch?
Here's what I did. I took all those dates and averaged them.
Did you?
Got a date. The average date for the Braves to clinch since 1991 has been the 155th game of the year. 155th game of the year is Saturday, September 24th at Turner Field against the Florida Marlins. There's your clinch date. You heard it first here.
Saturday. Okay.
September 24th.
Week from this coming Saturday.
Week from Saturday. One ball, 1 strike. And Michael Tucker came over in the deal with the San Francisco Giants. He's gone 1 for 10 for the Phillies since coming over. Hasn't got a chance to start many games. Used mostly in this role as a pinch hitter. In fact, all of his at-bats have come as a pinch hitter. Two and 2. Short, field for Call. How's that for positioning the defense? For Call against Tucker was playing up the middle and deep. And by going back about 4 or 5 more steps, he was able to get to that line drive in shallow center.
Pat Corrales, the commissioner of defense there, applauding the efforts of Raphael right where he wanted him, and a great play. This has not been a pretty game defensively for Atlanta, but that helps cover it up a little bit. Francoeur made a nice catch out in deep right center. Some other good defensive plays by Giles tonight too.
Jimmy Rollins 2 for 4 tonight, a 21-game hitting streak, longest in the National League this year. Johnny Damon over in the American League had a 29-game streak earlier this year. That's the longest in the major leagues. And Kyle Farnsworth getting ready to come in and seal the deal.
It will get tougher for Rollins on the road because, as I told you earlier, he hits 30 points lower on the road than he does in this park.
Well, he certainly hits in this park. That's his 3rd hit tonight. And over the 21 games, he now has 33 hits in 93 at-bats. Now Jason Michaels.
That win by Milwaukee tonight, by the way, that crushing Arizona, makes them 500. They are 73 and 73. They've been eliminated in the Central Division, and as Mark told you, St. Louis can clinch tonight if they win and Houston loses, but Milwaukee fighting real hard to have a 500 season.
There's a base hit to left by Jason Michaels. Rollins will stop at second. Here come the Phillies again. Little 2-out noise and a tough hombre coming up now, and Chase Utley. Bobby Cox is making his way up the dugout steps, and we're going to get another double switch here. So Rietsma will come out after getting the last 2 outs in the 7th inning and the first 2 here in the 8th. That's an inning and a third. He's given up 3 hits. No walks or strikeouts. The 2 runners aboard belong to him, and Kyle Farnsworth's going to get a chance to post a save by going longer than 1 inning. Mark Fine has an update while the double switch is made.
All right, thanks very much, Pete. You know, the hottest race right now, so many races in baseball, really, with the wild cards and the division still very much up for grabs, but the hottest one might be the wild card in the National League. Houston and Florida going at it, and Houston getting the better of it in this one thus far. Brad Ausmus deep to left and gone off Jason Vargas, and then a couple of batters later, Craig Biggio, number 23 on the season for him off Vargas. It is 3-0 Houston there now on the 7th. We'll be back with the Braves after a quick timeout.
I've never felt pressure like this. You know that those last 10 races you can't make a mistake.
NASCAR Nextel Cup racing from Loudon, Sunday at 12:30. When it counts, it's on TNT.
The double switch for Atlanta with runners first and second, 2 outs here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Johnny Estrada in to catch and put him in the number 5 slot in the batting order. And the new pitcher is Kyle Farnsworth, who has not pitched since Sunday, so he's had plenty of rest since his last appearance. This will be his 47th game overall, his 18th game with Atlanta. And 6 for 6 in save chances since coming over to the Braves.
Bobby hasn't used him, hasn't wanted to use him in more than 1 inning stints because he's been nursing a little bit of a sore back. But as you said, Pete, he's had some rest and I'm sure feels good tonight. The Braves as a staff last in the league in strikeouts, but Kyle Farnsworth averaging better than a strikeout per innings pitched. He's got 21 Ks on the year in only 18 innings.
There's a dangerous hitter in Chase Utley, 0 for 3 tonight with a walk. He has had some big hits in his brief major league career against Atlanta.
Those numbers I gave you a while with Atlanta.
Runners go. Double steal. No throw. Strike 1 to Utley. Farnsworth's career numbers against the Phillies are awful. You can see those numbers right there, an ERA of over 9. No balls, 1 strike on Utley.
And remember, he leads by 3 here. Force play was taken out by that swipe. Very chancing move by the Phillies, but it worked for them since the Braves weren't paying attention to them, but it does eliminate the force play at second.
Here's the 0-1. Down in the count, 0-2. That was that slider of Kyle Farnsworth, which he throws at a speed that a lot of pitchers throw their fastball at, high 80s.
For the season combined between Atlanta and Detroit, 55 strikeouts in 42 2/3 innings, and I think that slider is the biggest improvement in Kyle Farnsworth since he left the Cubs.
Now the 0-2. Little bouncing ball to first. Franco has it. He takes it to the bag for out number 3. Farnsworth gets out of the 8th inning. He'll have 1 more mile to go in the 9th. Braves still lead it 6-3.
.org or MLB.com to see how you can help. Changes for the Phillies.
Michael Tucker stays in the game in center field. Jeff Geary, the new pitcher, he gave up that long home run to Andrew Jones last night. First pitch to Rafael Furcal misses. There's Tucker. Furcal tonight is 2 for 4. Sharply hit, but Utley has it. 1 down. Marcus Giles will be the next batter. Due up in the bottom of the 9th for the Phillies, Bobby Abreu, Pat Burrell, Ryan Howard. So don't put this one down as a victory quite yet. And a tough part of the order to get through. Giles, 2 walks, a sacrifice bunt, and a ground out tonight.
And again, that doesn't sound like much, but he scored a run after walking on one of those occasions. The bunt moved a runner from second to third, and the ground out moved a runner from second to third with nobody out.
Florida's picked up a run now in the 7th inning in Houston to make it 3-1 Astros, with the Marlins still batting in the 7th. Tell you who's going to game tonight too if both Florida and the Phillies lose. That team you were just talking about a moment ago, Milwaukee, they're not wholly out of the picture yet. They would only be 4.5 games back in that wild card race. Yes, they'd have 3 or 4 teams ahead of them, but they've got a lot of games left with Houston.
That's great for them.
It's a long shot, to say the least, but they're still mathematically in it. 1-2 pitch. Right to Bell. 2 away.
It's now time for the Aquavelva out of the blue play of the game, and this one was knocked out of the blue. Chipper Jones in the first inning, a 440-foot blast to straightaway center, and then out of the blue again on a changeup, a 2-run homer off Ryan Madsen in the 7th to give the Braves a cushion. What a night for him. Ties his career high with 5 RBIs.
19 homers on the year now, 67 runs driven in. Nothing in 1. One ball, 1 strike. Tipper's never had a 3-home run game in his major league career.
Until now. He's sure got a good stroke working. I know that. Both sides of the plate. Coming in on him.
1-2. Gary, a guy who's been on that shuttle between AAA and the big league club for the last 3 years. Out Chipper Jones looking a 1-2-3 9th inning for Jeff Geary. And here come the Phillies now, down by 3, due up in the bottom of the 9th. Bobby Abreu, Pat Burrell, and Ryan Howard against Kyle Farnsworth. Trying to save it for Jorge Sosa, who went 5 2/3 tonight. Pitched out of trouble again in several of those innings. Got out of a bases loaded situation in the first. He left runners at second and third in the second. Left a runner at second in the third. Leadoff double in the fourth. The runner never advanced. McBride followed, then Rietzman, now Farnsworth. As the Braves try to salvage the final game in this series after dropping the first 3. Bottom of the 7th now in Houston. 3-1 Astros lead the Marlins. Abreu tonight, a single, a double, a home run, and a walk. Ball 1. In for a strike.
Carl's been kind of funny how he at times comes in throwing about 91 or 2, and then one batter later, sometimes within the same at bat as the first hitter, he's up to 97, 98. It's like he has to get his bearings.
Good slider there. Had Abreu all tied up.
It's just tough to adjust to that, Pete. When the guy can throw it up there 98 miles an hour or better, you gotta look for that pitch. And if he throws you the slider, it's almost impossible to change.
That just missed. 2-2. Did he go? Yes, he did. That's a strikeout for Farnsworth. 1 gone to the 9th. And that'll bring up Pat Burrell.
On a slider. In the dirt. And Estrada quick to tag him.
1 out, 9th inning. Now Burrell 0 for 4. Phillies have only had 1 game where they've been trailing after 8 innings that they've come back and won this year. They're 1 in 60. Most teams have numbers pretty close to that, but they have not been a big 9th inning rally team. And Kyle Farnsworth trying to make sure that that's the case tonight. Ball 1 to Burrell.
You saw those numbers by Burrell against Farnsworth. 2 for 5 with 4 walks. That's on base 6 times out of 9. A lot of that probably came, Pete, when he was a setup guy, maybe coming in with inherited runners where he's trying to not make a mistake to the guy. Coming in this situation, totally different.
1 ball, 1 strike. 1 out in the 9th. He's going to keep throwing that slider, and why not? 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And why not? Burrow's decided not to swing at it. He's still waiting on a fastball.
Well, he's going to get his wish here, it looks like. Little up and in fastball. 99 miles an hour.
Yeah, check your glove, Johnny. I'm not sure that went off the top of your glove or through it.
Two balls, 2 strikes to Burrell. Another fastball. Just missed. Oddly enough, Farnsworth, in some of his appearances, has had better control of his slider than he has the fastball.
And that's why I think he'll throw it here.
Burrell got a piece of it. Ryan Howard waits on deck.
Another one.
And this one gets him. 2 strikeouts in the inning, 2 outs in the inning, 1 out to go. Ryan Howard, the last hope for the Phillies.
Braves certainly didn't come in here thinking they would have to scramble to win 1 game, but that was the case after the Phillies took the first 3 But tonight, Chipper and the long balls giving the Braves a little cushion. Sosa giving them 5+ strong innings and pitching out of a lot of jams. Boy, it's a shot in the arm to come away with one after you lose the first 3.
Been a lot of things that have happened on this road trip that the Braves didn't think they were going to have to do. Deep left center field. There's some of that opposite field power we told you about from Ryan Howard. And it's not over yet. It is now 6-4. Howard's 18th homer of the year, his 48th RBI of the year. As the Phillies score their 4th run, Houston has just scored a 4th run at Minute Maid Park to make it 4-1 over the Marlins in the 7th.
Fastball. He's had all those good sliders, but he threw a fastball, and Ryan Howard with a short stride and a quick swing.
That's out where he can reach it. That's why they try to jam him, try to keep it in his hands if they can.
That's why that soft stuff from Sosa out away from him wasn't really that close to the plate.
Here's David Bell now. He's 1 for 4. 0-1.
Houston has a run in. You're right, Pete. They've got the bases loaded, 1 out in the 7th. 10th home run in his last 80 at bats for Ryan Howard.
Ground ball, foul ball, 0-2. You talk about Chipper Jones and the big night that he's had tonight. He was the primary reason the Braves were able to come back and win that game on Sunday, which meant that they were able to take that series with Washington 2 out of 3. The Jones boys, you can say all you want about the kids and the youngsters and all the contributions they've made, but when it gets right down to it, you've got to have Chipper and Andrew and Marcus Giles and Rafael Furcal, the veterans on this club, doing their part.
And I think they have been, Pete, and that's why I keep saying that as you get closer to the postseason, a couple of guys in the bottom half of the order have to get hot and stay hot.
This should end it. Farnsworth halfway to first, underhand toss to Franco, and the Braves bounce back in the finale of this series. Chipper Jones driving in 5 of the 6 runs. Braves win it 6-3.